guys, you can see my hat. I'm moving along here. I'm really actually I'm right on my last repeat way up here, and I just wanted to take 2 seconds and show something. All right, so I'm just finished knitting back my 9 stitches. And there's this short row is a little different than all the others. So I just wanted to show that real quick. And I'm going to show you, like, if you want to carry up your yarn, how to do it. So I just finished I got my 9 on here. 3, I think. Yep. 3, 6, 9. I got to do 1 more stitch for my short row. Turn, slip it back, and pull it over. Then I got to do 11 stitches. 1, 2, 3. There's the double legs from the previous short rows. All right, there's my 11. Here's my stitch, my short row. 1 more. And if you're doing it English style, you still do the same thing. You just bring it, slip it over, pull it, give it a little tug, make sure you got the 2 rows showing. Now I'm going to knit 16 back. 1, 2, 3, and I'm doing it right-handed for you guys. So the 16 back brings us right even to where we started. Okay, but the short row that's shown on here is in the other color. So if I do my 16 back, here's my short row from proof 4, another one, short row stitch, the double leg stitch, whatever you want to call it, double leg stitch. Okay, so then this is 15, 16. So now it's saying do a short row. So I would knit this stitch, and it is loosey-goosey there because this is where all our stitches come in. Okay, this is where all the ends are. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to take it, I'm going to slide it over, and I'm going to pull it up and over. Yes, it is loosey-goosey. Now, I'm going to help lock it. I'm going to make sure that I'm taking these greens and I'm putting them over top, because now I got to pick up the beige. So I'm going to pick them up and I'm going to go over top. Now I got to go down to the end. Okay. Now, if I was getting ready to keep carrying, like I did all my petals in different colors, but if you're doing them all in the same color, you might want to carry. You can see I have a lot of ends to weave in. I know some people hate weaving in ends, but actually I don't mind at all. I'm one of those weird people that actually don't mind weaving in ends. So, but what you want to do is you want to carry that yarn up. So give me 1 second and let me get to the other side, and then I'll show you how to carry it up. So now I'm going to try and carry that yarn up. I want this yarn to slowly travel up rather than have big loops. So what I want to do is catch this yarn. So I'm going to knit. I'll do it right-handed so everybody can see it. More of you knit English style. All right, here 2, 3. All right, I'm going to knit up here. Okay, so now I'm going to catch this yarn on the next stitch. So I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to put it over the needle, and I'm going to knit around both stitches so it kind of snags that stitch. See how it snagged the yarn? And now I've got it caught behind. So every time I do a right side row and I want to carry the yarn, I would grab it that way so that the yarn travels up just a little bit at a time so that you don't have one big gap. So just keep catching every right side row, just do a little catch. And move it in the direction depending on how many stitches are between your stitches. Up here we have 9. The next one will only be 7 before it starts. So it'll be easy. Okay, but when it goes from 3 to 9, you're going to travel 3, you're going to move it forward. Okay, so I've got my 7 repeats done. All right, but I ended with row 71 on the last repeat, because when you kitchener, you do the extra, you make 1 row. So row 72 will be created. So now we're going to come back here and we're going to take off our provisional cast on. But we have a little different scenario here than when we did it in the cowl. We need to weave this in because if I undo this, we're going to lose this one last stitch. So before you start, this is your original tail to start. You want to weave it in. So I'm going to come back in the back here. And I'm going to weave it in so I can lock. See, so now I actually have a stitch. I don't have just a tail hanging loose. All right, so I'm going to weave that in real quick. It only takes a couple seconds to weave. Okay, and I always like to weave as best I can with the yarn so it's got the same pull and take. Okay, so I'm just going to weave over a couple stitches, and then I can always cut it later. I can always finish it later if I want to. But I know it's not going to come undone when I won't lose this stitch. I completed the loop on the stitch. So I'll finish that up later. Okay, so now I'm going to get ready and I'm going to start. Here's my little thing that tells me this is the end to undo. I'm going to take my end off. And now I got it unlooped. So now it's going to start coming loose. So I grabbed another needle. And I'll show you another little different way you can weave in. All right, so I weaved that in pretty tight, didn't I, Chris? Here's my stitch. I'm going to grab that. So I'm going to grab the right leg of every stitch. So I'm going to grab there. So in essence, every other leg. Skip that leg. This leg. Skip the. Now I don't want to make sure I don't get any of my cast on my waste yarn or my cast on yarn. And I want to get up tight. I want to get the stitch right up against that, right up against it. All right, so I'm grabbing all the right legs, skipping the left leg. Sometimes I might have to pull a little bit. There we go. Here we go. So this way you don't have to, if you don't want to, and you get nervous about those, pulling them and leaving those loops. This is another way you can do it. I'm going to pull it up a little bit so I can get, there's a stitch. I want the right leg. And I'm going to go all the way across, grabbing my legs. Now, if I want to, every so often I can stop. And I can pull. The first one came out. First one gets tight in. All right, and they come out. All right, now I can just keep on going. Always grabbing the right leg. I can pull it up. See the stitch right here? Right leg. There's the left. I'm going to skip it. Next stitch. Right leg. And it gets tight down here, but remember your cast on was done with your main color, so you want to be picking up the leg of the main color, not the leg of the petal. So you can do it, like I said, you can do it a couple ways. You can do where we did it the last time, where we ripped out a few and then just grabbed the stitches. But if you're worried about the stitches becoming free, now I don't worry about it as much, so I actually will rip like this and then just go in and grab them. But if you're worried about doing it this way, you can stab them and get them up before you even go. But for time, I'm going to go my way. All right, now you can see where I dropped a couple stitches, but right now everybody should be able to fix those real quick. And you can make sure your orientation is on right. I just dropped one again. Here's where I dropped one. So it should look like a pearl on this side, so I'm going to fix it. My orientations all look good though. Need to look like a pearl, so I want to put it on. If you don't know how to fix it purl-wise, then you can always turn it over, put the strand on top, and then fix it knit-wise. Okay, I think the rest of them are good. Now we're going to set up to do our kitchener stitch. Now this kitchener is a little different because a garter stitch we're always knitting. So we're going to be taking everything off as if it's always a knit stitch. So we are now going to kitchener these two sides together. We need 3 to 4 times. I rather be on the side of error, side of caution, so I'm going to do at least 4 times. All right, so now I've got my tail that I'm going to be ready to start kitchenering or grafting. But like I said, this is going to be a knit to knit graft because you knit both sides of garter stitch. Now you're going to do a little bit of a setup on this. You want to kind of create those ridge, when you got a garter, you got these little ridge edges, and we want to create another ridge edge. Okay, so and here we're going to take the front, we're going to take your needle first, and we're going to go in purlwise to the first stitch. Then we're going to come to the back stitch, and we're going to take this stitch off now, knitwise, because normally we would knit this side. So we're going to take it off knitwise, and we're going to put the next stitch on purlwise. So this time they're always going to be matching. So now I'm going to come back to this one. I'm going to take off as if to knit, leave on as to purl. Take off as if to knit, leave on as if to purl. Bring it back to the front, take off as if to knit, stay on as if to purl. So the reason we're doing it this way, when we're doing stockinette and you're putting the two sides together, you're seeing the purl side over here. But because so you have the different rhythm. But when we're doing two knits, both sides are knits, you're always taking it off knitwise and slipping it purlwise. Leaving it on purlwise, excuse me. So it's knit off, purl on. Knit off, purl on. Make sure your yarn goes around the needle, so it's over the top here, over the top edge. Knit off, purl on. Knit off, purl on. All right, I'm going to go across. Now you want to make sure you're staying in that your gauge is kind of looking the same. You want to kind of look like you got the same gauge. I'm going to continue. I'll be right back as soon as I finish grafting, and then we'll do the tail. Okay, so I'm getting down towards the end and I'm grafting, but now you notice down here on the front needle, we still have all those German short row stitches. So you're going to have to remember to go into both legs. I'm going to take this one off, and I got to go in here and go into both legs and purl to leave that one on. So don't treat them as separate legs. Make sure you remember you're going to treat them as one stitch. So I'm down to just a handful of stitches left. And if I can get my needle in there. All right, so now there's the two stitches, the two legs. I gotta make sure I grab them, and they get a little harder because now you got them wrapped too. So I'm gonna knit that off. There we go, there I got the two legs. Purl, stay on. Knit off, purl on. Yeah, the last 5 stitches are all those double legs. And now we're doing the last stitches, so we're just going to knit off, knit off. So we got our kitchener done. Okay. So it's really hard to even see where it seamed now. I think I got it. All right. So now you're going to take your yarn and you're just going to run around and you're going to grab around the top circle. You're just going to put your yarn in and you're going to grab around the yarn circle. You can grab those little high and lows. Can't do anything. I know what it is. I hate this needle. Alright, so I'm going to grab. I've decided these are the cocoa knit needles that I got. Oh no, it's the Namaste needle I got for free. It's not worth it.
That's why it was free.
It's a dull point with no bent tip. Okay, so I love my Namaste needle case, but I'm not going to say I'm a big fan of their darning needles. Okay, so now I'm getting back around, and so now I can pull tight. Let's see if I got all the way around. So that's where I am. I pull tight, and if it doesn't look good, I can keep going and tighten it up a little bit more. It looks like I still had a little bit more to go. There we go. Now I'm closing it up. And sometimes I might have to go in and go around a second time. Yeah, I love my bent tips. I don't know why I bothered using this guy. And I go around and go around. Okay. Go around. And then I'm going to drive it down through the middle. Weave it in. So I got a lot of ends to weave in, as you can see, because I should have done them as I went along, but I didn't. But now your hat is done. So, good luck with everybody. Hope you had fun. We'll figure out what we can do next month.